All right, everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm going to actually review this car today. It's actually my personal car. This is a 2019 Infiniti Q50. So, I'm going to talk about a lot of things today, but before I do that, let me hop outside and show you the exterior of the car, what has been done to it, and the condition of the car basically. All right, so this is the rear end of the car. You can see I only have the aftermarket muffler. It's just the muffler. The car has been ceramic coated, even though the car is a little dirty right now. A couple of weeks ago, we just painted the calipers. The front tires are new. Front two tires are new, basically. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Engine wise, everything is stock. Nothing has been done to it other than just some K&N high flow drop-in filters. Everything has been stock. All right, so I have a lot of things to talk about for this car. I have actually owned this car for a year now, and this is actually my second Q50. Yes, I bought the same car twice. Some people might think it's dumb, but yeah, I had my reasons. So my first Infiniti Q50 was a 2017, even though they both had the same motor. So it's the VR30 V6 twin turbo. But yeah, I had some issues with that car, so I had to trade that car in. The turbos basically went out. It's a common problem on these cars. Even though I had the warranty and stuff, but I still didn't want to deal with that kind of stuff. So yeah, so we're just going for a drive here. I'm in Ontario, so yeah, just stay with me. I'll share my experience and what to look out for this car, and I will show you a couple of things. I'll tell you things in detail. So number one thing, before I say anything, then the first thing is, if you go on YouTube and if you search for Infiniti Q50 reviews and stuff, the most of the reviews and most of the videos that you will see are regarding to mods. So many people have done so many things to these cars, power wise, JB4, race box tune, heat exchanger, exhaust, you name it, everything. And it's actually great that the aftermarket support for this car is amazing. Z1 Motorsport, AMS Performance, what is that, Concept Z, and a lot of other companies that they have some good parts for this car, which is great, which is actually great, really great. But for me, I am not into modification and stuff. Even if I do some sort of modification, my modifications are not that heavy, if that makes any sense. It's not some crazy modification and stuff. I'm not into tuning the car and stuff. I'm more of a stock person, if you say so. So I wanted to make this video to show the people, or actually tell the people who are planning to buy this car, and who has no intention of modding it, or even if they mod it, they're not thinking of doing some crazy mods or anything like that. They just want to keep it simple. So I want to tell you guys how it feels like to own this car, to maintain this car, to have this car for a year stock. What do you get in a stock form? So first of all, Infiniti is Nissan's luxury brand, just like Toyota has Lexus, Honda has Acura. So everything in this car, they tried to make it a little bit more luxurious. You can see this area where my feet touches, this is leather padded, over here is leather padded, everything is leather padded. So they tried their best to give it a more luxurious feel, and everything, all the touch points are soft as well, and cushioned, you can tell. This is a nice curve here. Yeah, So yeah, but it's not, I wouldn't say that it's that luxurious compared to Mercedes, BMWs or Audis, but it's not bad for its price. It's not bad. Okay, so starting with the things that how it feels like or what do you get out of the box is number one, performance. A lot of people, they buy this car because of its power. It has decent numbers on paper, and like also like not only in paper, like even when you're putting the power down on the street, it's enough. So basically from this VR30, this motor, you're getting 300 horsepower and 295, I believe, foot-pound of torque, which is pretty good. Even though I know the car is heavy, I think the car weighs around like 3,400 to 3,500 pounds, the weight. It is pretty heavy, but being a twin turbocharged engine, the way it delivers the power, and also it has the all-wheel drive, like it's actually good. It's enough, unless or until you want to get into trouble in the street, like, you know, drive like a maniac. Then you're trying to race someone. Like a lot of people are racing with these cars. You can find those videos on YouTube. But yeah, but if you're just daily driving it, but if you want to have fun like sometimes, and you know, push it in the back road and stuff, it's enough. It's enough. And there is another version of this car, which is a Q50 Red Sport, that has 400 horsepower and I think 350 or 60 something foot-pound of torque. If you want to go like full send, yeah, you can get that one, but like for me this was just fine. Yeah, so power wise it's enough. Second thing, if you're daily driving it like me, this is your only car, you take this car to work, you have a family, you take your kids to school, one thing you might want to like look into is the fuel economy. This car is not good on fuel economy. The fuel economy numbers are not good. You can see, like, I'm in Canada, so everything is like in liters and kilometers. So I have yesterday I filled up my tank just a little bit, and after that I resetted my fuel economy, and now I have only driven like what 15 to 20 kilometers, and I'm only getting 8.3 kilometers per liter. So this is basically it. Like on an average, and in the like regular traffic in the city, I'm getting around 8, but I have seen the lowest I have gotten is I think 6 kilometers per liter, because I go to downtown for work, and like there's like bumper to bumper traffic. Like I got the worst fuel economy there. So, but like it's not like only this car. Like I feel like any car that has 6 cylinder gives you this kind of gas mileage. Even some cars that are 4 cylinders but turbocharged performance cars, like let's say Golf R, even like I think like no, GTI is good, like Golf R and like let's say Civic Type R and something like that, the fuel economy is okay. It's okay. So like compared to that, like I'm not saying that it's terrible, but I'm just saying like if you're driving the car daily, like a daily driving it, you're doing your grocery, you're just going to work and stuff, it means nothing to me. Like it's just I feel like this is just unnecessary, right? Because it doesn't make any sense to spend more money on things that you don't want to do in the first place, like going to work, like doing grocery and stuff. We don't want to go and do that, right? But anyway, so this is the fuel economy. And when you go on a highway, the highest I have gotten is like 12 kilometers per liter, but that is like with very conservative driving, like maintaining the speed limit and stuff. Yeah, you can easily get 11.5 to 12. So it's on highway, it's not bad. Like I do not mind that, but it's just in the city with the traffic and stuff, it sometimes gives me bad fuel economy. Other than that, like I think this car is an excellent daily driver. I love driving it. I love how the suspensions are tuned. It's not sporty or anything. It's very, very cushioned. But I think like this Red Sport, it has an adaptive suspension, like where you put the car into, like, you know, like in sports mode, it will stiffen up the suspension so you can make sharp turns and stuff with more confidence. But I don't really do that kind of stuff with this car, so it's fine for me. Yeah, like I say, like other than that, it has enough space, like decent space. The trunk opening is not that big. Even the trunk itself is not that big, but it's not too bad. Like I can't complain too much about it. And the third thing is the tires. So originally this car from the factory comes with a run flat tire, because this car does not have any spare tire. Like there is even no space where you can like put a spare tire. Like even if you want to buy it, there is no room for that. So basically these cars, they come with the run flat tires, and these run flat tires sucks, period. It is so bad. It is so bad. I don't know if you guys know anything about run flat tires, but basically what run flat tires is like, the sidewall of the tires are so hard, like even if there is no air or anything like that, so that you can still drive it. But on the downside is, because the sidewall is like so hard, when you go over bumps and stuff, you will feel it. You'll feel it, like it's very bad. The sound is bad, the feeling is bad, and also like when you're driving on the freeway and stuff, like you'll feel that it's very noisy. So before, when I was showing the exterior of the car, I told you guys that in the front I have 2 new sets of tire, like 1 set of tire, basically 2 tires. So this car still had the original run flat tires when I bought this car 1 year ago, with 65,000 kilometers. Now it has 83,000. So those 2 tires were actually worn out pretty much, because those tires, I think most of the time those tires were in the back, and since it's a rear biased car, so this is why those tires worn out faster. So I wasn't planning to change the tire at that time, the 4 tires, but my mechanic was like, oh, these tires are pretty much gone, you should change it. So I just changed it. I went with a Yokohama Advance Sport all season. Excellent tire, super quiet. Now the weird thing is, like when I drive the car on the highway, I can feel the front of my car is quieter than the back, which is I don't know, it's hard to explain, like, but which is like super weird. But I will change the back as well. So yeah, that's basically the 3 things. And the fourth thing would be, if you want to do a little bit of modification to this car, like, you know, just to make it more you can say reliable, like fun machine, whatever you want to call it. Like if you want to do that, then this car is very prone to heat soak. So since this car is turbocharged, just to give you guys a little bit of a background, so any turbocharged cars, it needs a cooling. In the air that the engine takes, it needs a little cooling, because the turbocharger, it compresses the air, and the air temperature goes up so much, you need to cool it down before it goes back to the engine, right? So usually there are 2 types of coolings. One is the regular air to air intercooler, and the other one is like air to water intercooler. So this one has air to water intercooler, so we don't really call it the what do you call it, intercooler. We don't call it the intercooler, but we call it the heat exchanger, basically. So this car has that, but the heat exchanger, it comes from the factory, is like very small, like really like this small, right? So it's okay if you're doing a pull here and there, if you're just driving normally, it is fine. But if you're gonna push the car too much, or like do back-to-back pulls and stuff, this car will heat soak. And what it does is, when it heat soaks, it pulls the timing of the engine. So the engine, basically what that means, pulling the timing of the engine, means the ECU, the computer of the car, is telling the engine not to rev that much, or not to make that much power. So it's cutting down power. So you will feel it. So there are many heat exchangers in the market, like cheaper one, more expensive ones. If you want to do a modification like that way, keeping the car cool, you can do that. That's a very good thing. In fact, I'm considering doing that. Recently I bought a part for the car, which is the rear sway bar. That's another thing I wanted to talk about. Since this car is like, there's a big engine in the front, it's a very nose heavy car, right? And also the suspension tuning is from the factory. This car was designed to be a very like a luxurious, comfortable car. So when you're trying to take like hard turns, or like, you know, like cutting people in the traffic, you'll feel it. There is so much body roll. There's so much body roll. The best way to eliminate it is if you can go with the aftermarket coilovers. But also with aftermarket coilovers, you'll have to lower the car. So since this is my daily, and I live in Ontario, and we get a lot of snow here, so I can't really drive this car when there is a snow piled up in front of my house, right? So I went with the sway bar. This is like it's something that helps the suspension to like reduce the body roll. So I installed that one, and after I only did the rear one. Usually it comes in a package, front and rear, but the front one is not that bad. The most amount of change you feel is when you change the rear one. So I did the rear one, and after that, this car like taking turns like it has never taken before. Like, it is so well. The car feels so planted. The car feels like one piece. I will try to make another video of the rear sway bar that I have installed and how it feels. It's actually very hard to explain how the sway bar feels, but I can only, like, you know, drive it and like take turns and like tell you guys how it's going. So yeah, handling wise, that, and the last thing component wise that I would like to mention is the all-wheel drive system in this car. This all-wheel drive system excuse me, is decent. Like, do not expect anything like Subaru's. I think Subaru's all-wheel drive system is like the best, or Quattro that Audi makes. This one is decent. So it's a rear biased car. So basically there is someone on YouTube, his channel's name is something Kydro. So he got his hand to the Nissan or Infiniti diagnostic tool. So he connected his computer with the car, and he was driving it, and he actually showed in the video that how this all-wheel drive system works is basically every time when you're coming to a stop and when you're like putting the gas, what happens is like there is a clutch, there's an electromagnetic clutch that engages and disengages the front wheel, but the power is always going to the rear wheel. It's only the front wheel that the computer is deciding like whether to send power or not. So on his computer he actually showed like every time you're like coming to a stop and like giving it the gas from up to like, let's say 20 to like 30 kilometer speed, I don't know how much it will be in mile, the clutch, the signal goes up like this, the voltmeter will go up like this, and then it comes down. So what happens is like every time what that basically means is like every time you're coming to a stop and you're giving it the gas, it's actually sending power to both wheels. And after a certain speed, like let's say 20 or 30, it disengages the clutch and no power is being sent to the front wheel anymore, because we don't need it unless or until there is a slip. Then the clutch will engage again and send the power to the front wheel in order for you to like recover from that slip. So this is basically it. I have driven this car many times in snow, like in snowstorm, in crazy snowstorm. I have driven it and I had no problem. And also I have a winter tire. I use Michelin X-Ice, which is a very, very good tire. That tire helps also. So yeah, I like this all-wheel drive system, like no complaint in that. Like even also when you're doing a pull from the dig, 0 to 60 or like something like that, it also hooks. I never had any problem where I felt like the car is like slipping. Also the car is stock, the car is on making stock power level, so it should not slip. But yeah, if in the future, if I do any modification power wise, I'll see how it like hooks that time. But other than that, it's pretty good. The car has been solid. I had no problem. I had this car for 1 year, except I think one problem, which is very unfortunate, and like I don't know who to blame. Like there is no one's fault. That is when I got the car after a couple of months, like when I was driving on the highway, and like I've started noticing it. I could hear like humming sound from the right side, front right side. So I actually knew that it could be my tire or it could be my wheel bearing. And then I took this car to my mechanic, and like they put the car on the hoist, and like they asked me to, like, you know, put the car in gear and, like, you know, spin the wheel. I did that, and the sound was, yeah, definitely coming from the wheel bearing on the right side. So I had to change that wheel bearing. I have the warranty. I could have taken the car to dealership, but I just didn't want to deal with that time, like because I don't know if you guys have ever dealt with dealership, you will know what I'm talking about. Like, it's actually very hard to get things done with dealership, especially under warranty. So yeah, I bought the part from Infiniti, and it was pretty expensive, $450 something Canadian dollars for the one wheel bearing. And yeah, I bought it and I gave it to my mechanic, and then I replaced it. The sound is gone. This guy is in a hurry, but anyway, yeah, that is pretty much it. And so far I had no problem with this car. And if you guys want to know more about my ownership experiences, anything else specifically, like let's say infotainment, like turbocharger, oh, there's another car, another Q50, anything like that, please do let me know in the comment section below. I have all the time in the world to make videos for you guys, these informative videos, because I watched a lot of videos on YouTube regarding this Q50, but not all the videos actually answered my question. Like sorry, like I said, most of the videos are related to like modification, how to make more power, how to win races, how to do quarter mile, you know, like. But if you're not into that, yeah, just maintain your car, do oil changes regularly, make sure the car is clean inside and outside. It's a good looking car. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And I will make more videos in the future, and if you guys have any suggestion or any advice, like, please do let me know. And yeah, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you guys.